What's going on, gamers? We got a crazy video here showing some things. Now, you know, there was always this big topic when it comes to Xbox backwards compatibility and PlayStation backwards compatibility, how Microsoft had such a good system with their backwards compatibility going all the way back to 360, and even some games on original Xbox. And a big thing with the PS5, even PS4, that people had when it comes to Sony is PS3 backwards compatibility. And you guys know I've done some recent videos in the past talking about this. And in this article right here, it proves that Sony could give you a PS3 emulator right now that has a good amount of games. Though you've gotten certain games, but it's like you could have more, but they have different plans for it. Or who knows, maybe they may one day. There was an article that I know we read last year saying that that may be a possibility soon this year. We'll see. But what I do know is somebody who had up a custom emulator has gotten this far. And it's called RPCS3 reports 70%. Yeah, guys, you heard this. 70% of PlayStation 3 games are now playable via the emulator. And this is not Sony, obviously, but this is somebody saying it can happen. Because remember, they were making it seem like it's impossible. Or how did somebody who doesn't have that type of database, and we know how ridiculous the PS3 aspect was because of that cell processor that made it ridiculous at launch, was an excuse to say we can't put PS3 games on PS4 or PS5 like the way we want to. A lot of people thinking they might be wanting to milk people because of that and just make remakes or remasters. But that's some people that like to go back and play their older games. Now more than ever, that's a big thing in this society where you see people on PC and on Steam in general playing old games and they want to play them in higher settings. That was a big thing on the Xbox world that they wanted, and they want that when it comes to the Magnus or when it comes to the Xbox app or anything on PC to play 360 games at higher settings. It's the same thing in the PlayStation world. It's wanted even more in a certain sense because they never got that taste like they wanted to. Where it's like, okay, I have this, maybe you may be giving me this remaster or whatever, but I want to play the older one too because some people just like those feelings. You can't say that everybody's always wanting to play this new game all the time, that they want to pay $70 for or whatever. Some people like that experience, and it's also for new people that are just getting in the gaming industry that can get that taste that didn't grow up, because not everybody grew up in the era that us hardcore gamers like myself grew up in 1993 and has beaten almost 3,000 video games. You know what I mean? I'm a hardcore gamer. You guys have seen my platinums on PlayStation. You saw my 360, my Xbox gamer score, almost 130,000 or whatever, and then as many Nintendo games as I've beaten as well. I do a lot of offline playing. And we're doing that right now. Right now, I'm working through Harry Potter because I never got to get to that, and I'm enjoying it. I'm beating a lot of games lately, secretly. And I have to say, my favorite one, though, and there's a lot of really good ones, is Alan Wake 2. Oh my God, that game is so good. I'm telling God tier direction. But yeah, here we go with this again. Sony can do this. This proves it right here, and that's what this video is about. So like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you guys think. The emulator has made some significant progress in recent times. And now it can play a lot of games without any issues. Guys, key word, can play a lot of PS3 games to PS5 without any issues. RPCS3 emulator can now run 7 out of 10. They don't mean that by 7 out of 10 games, so they mean 70%. PlayStation 3 games without any major issues. Not just running them, but running them flawlessly. You see what I'm saying? We're going to get to this. We're going to prove this because I know a lot of people would like this because this is just more replay value, and it should be included in your Plus service where it should be a PS3 section. Hopefully Sony doesn't think of a way to do that to jack the price up. Hey, don't you do that. I don't remember exactly what percentage of PlayStation 3 games were playable a few years ago, but remember, it was pretty low. But it was definitely less than 50%. I don't know if you guys know that, but it was. And I've ran some other emulators, test videos where the guy was using bootleg PlayStation 5 dev kits that were weaker than the current PlayStation 5 right now and getting 60 frames per second on those. And Sony has made drastic improvements. You can imagine with the Pro 2 and PSSR, just all that, it would be absolutely, you know, easy to do. The emulator has come a long way, and not just offering support. I'll zoom in for you guys right here. Damn, that threw me off. Hold up a second. Where the hell are we at? Okay, the emulator has come a long way, and not just offering support to more games, but also expanding to more platforms. Yeah, the RPCS3 developer team has been making some steady progress for a while now, and we have been reporting on some major changes in the emulator recently. However, what went overlooked was the fact that the emulator can now support 70%. That's what I was trying to tell you, that 7 out of 10. 70% of PlayStation 3 games without any major issues. We're going to get to this graph down here in a second. On the compatibility page, you can find the information regarding game compatibility on the emulator. Not every PlayStation 3 game is playable via the emulator, but now the majority, that's a key word, of games can be played with playable performance and with no game-breaking glitches. So that's the way to do it. Guys, here's the thing right here. Let's take a look at this. This is proof in the pudding. All right. So as we see this chart right here, I can get off the screen real quick. No, you guys can still see it. Yeah, no, you need this on the screen. You need this somewhere on the screen. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, the green is telling you right here, playable. We can see right over here. 70% games that can be completed with playable performance and no game-breaking glitches. That's literally the majority of PS3 games. That's major. This means that Sony could do this no problem and actually even more improved, since they know their hardware better than anyone. And we know they're hardware manufacturing geniuses in certain senses, and they've always been doing that. So if anybody can do it, Sony can do it 100%. This is proof right here, because these guys are doing it, and there's some side dev team that nobody knows about. In-game, which is the next one right here. 26.59% games that either can't be finished, have serious glitches, or have insufficient performance. But if you get it in the hands of the right developers, you know what I mean? Because most PlayStation first-party devs are still there. It's their games mostly, and it's a lot of other PS3 games that were kind of locked there. Would be able to solidify that. And I'm telling you, this 70% can easily go up to 80 to 85% easily. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh man, you can get the majority, no problem, and then work on the rest over time. Okay, intro. Games that display image but don't make it past the menus. And remember, nobody has the PS3 coding like that database. These guys are doing the best that they can. And then you got loadable, which is a very low percentage. Think about this. This is not 0.3, but 0.03% to display a black screen with the frame rate on the Windows title. And then nothing, games that don't initialize properly, not loading at all. There's no such thing. All of it has a way of working. And if you think about it, that says these games can't be finished. They just have glitches and performance issues. So really, that moves it up to 96, almost 97% right now. That is possible. So you guys are gonna have to let me know what you think about this graph, because this graph tells you that PlayStation 5 can get PS3 games, and in the hands of those that control it and control the database and the development coding and toolkits and all that, can get this going with Mark Cerny and all them. Oh, come on, man. Are you kidding me? Now more than ever, you got that AMD aspect going, backwards compatibility. You can do it. I'm telling you. So it says users can individually check these games, or those games, and also those that aren't yet fully supported. Certainly 26.59% of the games can run, but the game won't let you finish due to either poor performance or bugs. Less than 3% of the games allow running the game to the intro, and less than 0.1% can't be run at all. RPCS3 doesn't just run the majority of PS3 games now, but it has also expanded its compatibility with more devices. Recently, the dev team announced that the emulator can now be run on Windows on ARM64 devices. They're able to move to architecture that didn't even exist like that back then, which was previously limited to Linux. But what's wrong with that? Because PlayStation, Sony is Linux. That's the good thing that I like about them. You ever notice why they probably also outperformed Xbox? Guys, think about it. They had Linux the whole time. So what does that say? You know what I mean? That's one thing I like about PlayStation. It's not Windows too. As much as people who are on the Xbox side only, and as much as people who are on Windows only, and I know you hate Windows 11. Don't you lie to me. And those of you that promoted Xbox, you like Linux. That's a good thing that I like about Sony. And Nintendo has their own OS completely separate from both of them, which is good. And it's the same thing I like about Valve, separate from Windows. We want more of that going on here. You see what I mean? Because I was doing Ubuntu dual boot on Linux, and actually it wasn't too bad. Think about Linux though. It's not automatic. You're gonna have to know how to code things, and not so much like too complicated, but you got to know how to run scripts. I mean, you're gonna have to. This is how it works, man. But once you get it down, it's fine. And one good thing about Linux is like, it only runs what the hell you set up. It doesn't have all this weird hidden creep spyware and malware stuff going. And you know what I mean? It's not weird town like Windows 11. At the moment though, the emulators can run successfully on popular operating systems such as Windows, Linux, and Mac OS, which I like too because it's a closed operating system, running on both x64 and ARM64 architectures. However, the dev team may not expand its support to more platforms. Not to forget, the dev team also brought a new update that allows loading the PS3 disc games using the ISO image only. You know what I mean? ISO? Which you can do through conversion. If you set up Linux, you have to know what that means, obviously. But yeah, I mean, they're even able to get PS3 games using ISO images, guys. I mean, that's actually pretty awesome. So you guys have to let me know what you think about this. Here's some more proof showing that this can happen. This guy says, aside from Dolphin and Redream, The RPC S3 has been one of the most reliable auto-generational 3D console emulators. Amir is on a come up right behind them. Most of the good games from the era have been either remade or ported to modern platformers already. For me, only Metal Gear Solid 4 would be worth emulating. What about the Infamous series? What about Killzone? No, that's not there. What about Warhawk? Oh, I can go on, you know what I mean? It's like, no, dude, there's some games that are definitely missing. But that game's probably being ported by Konami for the inevitable Volume 2 of the Metal Gear Solid collection. Maybe even the Ratchet & Clank future series of games. This guy says, in a world where AAA gaming industry fell spectacularly, this is pretty good news. Yeah, Killzone 2 will still run like crap. Oh, wow. Anyways, that's what people are saying. But you know, there's a good amount of PS3 games that I know people would like to get their hands on if they're not going to be doing any remakes for them that can get in people's hands. So yeah, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out. Have a great day. We also got some salty Xbox fanboys getting salty in that video earlier. Was like, dude, it's the NVIDIA app stuff all over again when we talk about ads and you will own nothing and rent everything. Yeah. Later.